I love to go play with Josh Allen. I love to go play with Josh Allen. Well, let me tell you something, Carnell Tate. That came from Carnell Tate. Forgive my voice. Your boy's as sick as I've been in a while, but I still showed up. I still showed up because that's how we do it here at the Fantasy Football Show. We don't take any days off. I crawled out of bed. Here I am.
Let him cook.
Okay.
The front door. Crawled out of bed. We got a delivery here. Hold on a second. Ziggy, shut me the front door. Ziggy off. Ziggy, turn off. We crawled out of bed. Here we are. And we'll see if we can go live tonight at midnight. Rookie wide receiver conversation happening right now. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
It's going to be hard for Carnell Tate to land on the Buffalo Bills. Let's just start off with that, because what matters is the NFL draft. How hard is it to trade up? I mean, it's not that you can't trade up using players, combination of picks, but it is going to be, what am I pulling this up for? So Buffalo is at 26 overall. Carnell Tate's going probably in the 4 to 13 range.
Motion detected.
I mean, he's a marvel. He's a Chris Carter type hands. I mean, this guy grabs everything thrown in his direction. I love Carnell Tate. And if it's Mike Evans, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, one of those guys. Malachi Fields is also another player that's making waves a little bit already at the Senior Bowl, at the practices right now. Just everybody's over there, Senior Bowl, looking at these guys, and Fields looks pretty solid. Fields is a definite big-time sleeper. Probably moves his draft stock up quite a bit. He would be a fantastic fit in the Buffalo Bills organization. I'd love to see Malachi Fields as a sleeper land for one of these big-time gunslingers that need a quarterback. But there's a lot of rookies to consider, and there really is a tier break after Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. These are the top two options without hesitation. Now, if I had to rank them, I would say Jordan Tyson, and you spell it like this, by the way. Jordan Tyson's my 1. I'd say 1A. My 1B would be Carnell Tate. And Carnell Tate is, like I said, a Chris Carter type hands wide receiver. Then there's a tier break, and a hard tier break. That's where you're going to have everybody underneath that, you kind of can throw in a blender in a sense, and then landing spot will determine where these guys go. Like Malachi Fields could be the 3rd best receiver in this draft class, or he could be the 10th. It just depends on where they fall. Boston, there's a lot of guys, a lot of good, decent wide receivers. And where can you find a list of those wide receivers? Well, I'll tell you. You go over to, no, not the merch store. You go over to the fantasyfootballshow.com, and that link's in the description. I've got all the rookies ranked. They're integrated into the other rankings as well. But these are the top 2. There's just no debate about it. Jordan Tyson is that kind of like Malik Neighbors meets, it's so hard to comp him because he's such a unique skill set. Kind of injury concerns are the reasons why you would stray away from him at all. But that's really it. I mean, the kid's so good downfield. He doesn't catch everything like Tate. This is more of like a CD Lamb. Lamb can drop some footballs, but Lamb can be the number 1 wide receiver in the league at any moment. Jordan Tyson's a mix between, I would say, CD Lamb and there's so many players you could comp him to because he's so unique. But just an absolute stud in the making. And keep in mind, he's putty right now. You can mold him, shape him. Turn him into anything you want. You put him in a place like Buffalo and he explodes. Carnell Tate is a very, very controlled Chris Carter meets Larry Fitzgerald meets a combination of those guys, but still has the ability to take the top off, the D. He's a marvel. These two guys, depending on where they go, one will be better than the other based on the landing spot alone. So, but this quote from Tate when asked where does he want to play football, he says, I'd love to go play with Josh Allen. just made me get giddy because I'm thinking about Tate catching footballs from Josh Allen. Josh Allen throwing these footballs at the sideline. This guy's the best sideline wide receiver maybe in the league in 1 year. 1 calendar year, he might be the best sideline wide receiver, toe tap wide receiver in the National Football League. He reminds me so much of Chris Carter. Love these two. Love these two wide receivers, Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. As I say right here, you can see right here, Malachi Fields would be a sleeper in Buffalo if the Bills don't find a way to trade up, because a trade is required in order to get into a position. And a big trade, it's going to be a massive trade, is required to get up into this from 26 into a place where Tate's going to go. Probably be a game day or a draft day trade too, because you don't want to just blindly, trade up to the 11 and then both of them are gone. You'd almost want to say, okay, wait until the 11's on the clock. Let's make some offers for it since Tate is still available, or the 10 or 9 overall. But Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, one of them is going to go in the top 7 overall. I think the Giants are a threat to take Tate and pair him with Malik Neighbors. The Titans could take Tate or Jordan Tyson. Cleveland could take Tate or Jordan Tyson. Washington Commanders. New Orleans, there's some talk about that, but, they've got some other positions they might need to address first. KC, definitely, if they're worried about Rashee Rice missing time or even the entire season or even his entire career, or maybe misses 0 games. Bengals aren't going to flirt with that. Miami Dolphins, probably not. Dallas would, the only thing that makes me think like a Pickens in 12, Dallas taking one of those wide receivers and trading Pickens on a tag or something, but it's going to come down to just a wild offseason for George Pickens as he probably holds out and they franchise tag him and try and negotiate a new deal, because Pickens is going to want top 5 wide receiver money. I wouldn't be surprised if in Pickens' mind, he wants the number 1 overall wide receiver money. Like he wants 40, he wants 110 million guaranteed. And that's going to be a tall order, with Jerry. Let's go through the news real quickly. There's some news. This Tate news. It was exciting, him talking about Josh Allen specifically, the Bills needing a wide receiver. It's something that gets me excited. I do think that Mike Evans feels like the best solution for a penny pinching organization that doesn't want to take this big gamble, whatever, trading up draft capital, whatever. It pisses me off the Bills don't want to go get Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate, because they're those guys. They are the next elite wide receiver capable in the right spot. John Gruden was being considered, but he wasn't considering or reciprocating, according to this report. Jets were trying to get him on staff, not as a head coach, but staff. He said, no, thank you. I'm not gonna, what do you want me to do? Get the water for you? Gruden would come back to head coach. Todd Monken is now the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. This is a piece of news that broke earlier. I've been so sick, I decided to just wait till 8 p.m. It wasn't like it wasn't the craziest of pieces of news. I mean, it is big, but there's not a lot of fantasy football. Let me put Monken on screen here. I got Monken already right here. So Monken is now, Schwartz was going to potentially be considered, and now he's going to leave because he's not going to take that. Hey, you didn't give me the head coaching job, I'm out of here. So he's gone. So Monken is now the OC. Now, this is good for Shador or Watson. It could be Deshaun Watson. This is good for whoever is there, but is it going to equate to like amazing fantasy football production? I don't know. I don't think so. I think in Superflex, you're considering starting either one of the quarterbacks, whoever's starting at Cleveland. I think it's good for Fannin. I think, we've seen Andrews and that tight end excel in the Baltimore Ravens offense year over year. So this is great news for Harold Fannin Jr. The run game will be pretty solid under Monken. Monken probably doesn't throw to his running backs. At least he hasn't. Will he throw to his running backs in this situation? I kind of tend to think we're going to get a lot of Judkins not catching footballs really ever again in Cleveland. So Judkins coming back from a near, kind of career-threatening injury. I'm not on the Judkins train this year at all, given the injury concerns mixed with Munkin's style of not throwing to his running backs. So, if anything, this is kind of like just a dead end. I don't think he thrives in Cleveland. I don't think he stays there for 5+ years. I think this is a multi-year experiment that ends up kind of probably ending badly. And I don't expect much out of the Cleveland Browns. Hopefully the Browns don't take Tate. Hopefully the Browns don't take Jordan Tyson. If they do, I'll be a little bit more on board the fantasy football implications of this Munkin situation. So it's kind of a protective measure there in case one of those wide receivers lands there. At least that's good that we have that kind of, protection or whatever. So there's that. Not much other news there. Let's keep rolling through. So Munkin, good placement of his skill set in case a wide receiver goes there in the draft. Schwartz is not. He plans to leave the team after he didn't get the head coaching job. He feels stepped over, so he's not going to stay. Can't blame him. And who wants to be in the Browns situation anyway? Gardner Minshew did not tear his ACL and he's already back to full strength. That's interesting. Sean McDermott. Reports are that the Bucs have talked to former Bills head coach Sean McDermott about joining the team staff. A lot of these teams trying to get these guys in as like assistant coaches and quarterback coordinators and such. And we'll see if McDermott ends up landing in Tampa. The players seem to love him, so I wouldn't think it's a bad thing at all if he lands somewhere. Here's more on the Munkin situation. That's it. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I know last night I said I'd try to come back, and I did. Itch on the back. I'm a mess, man. I'm an absolute mess. I know I said I was going to try and come back. I didn't promise. I said I'd try, and last night I couldn't. I am going to try, especially if I end this show before like a 55-minute show or an hour and 10-minute show or an hour and 15-minute show. I think I can muster up the energy to come back and do a Dynasty live stream and a late night Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. So smash that right there. Code Smitty. Play 5, get 75. Underdog promo code Smitty. They'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. So hit that link in the description or use code Smitty. The link in the description uses code Smitty for you. But we'll be drafting probably at least doing one draft tonight and then a Dynasty live stream. You are live, whoever this is.
Yeah, Smitty, Michael from San Diego. I'll be quick, man. Hope you feel better soon. But I think as a Titans fan, and it's fandom and also logic, I think we take Tate to pair up with Cam Ward long term, and then also bring in Wan'Dale Robinson as a slot guy. And I just think it takes off. I think our offense finally takes off under Cam Ward year 2 with Brian Daboll. Just want to get your thoughts.
It could. I certainly wouldn't bet on it. Like, it's not something I'm totally on board with. But you get a receiver like that, it definitely puts me back in that line of thinking. I mean, yeah. I personally think that you're gonna need a receiver like that in order for that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't take him. I mean, Daboll took Neighbors a few years ago, pretty early. Cam Ward needs someone at this point. I don't think we can rely on Ridley anymore. So,
yeah, Cleveland and Tennessee are. I don't want to say I'm rooting against them drafting Tate or Jordan Tyson, but I kind of am. It's not that I don't. Again, if one of them lands in Tennessee, I'll be on board because the volume will be there. And look, Cam Ward, as much as he struggled and done well and struggled, he reminds me a little bit of Bryce Young. Like, there's flashes, and then you're like, I don't know. There's still a lot of talent there, and more importantly than that, it doesn't really, like, if the team is losing, but throwing in third and fourth quarters, like, that's kind of the best recipe for a Tate or Jordan Tyson. So I could easily get on board real quickly with the landing spot. And, honestly, I'm rooting for Tennessee more than I have Cleveland because Tennessee's at least got the Cam Ward aspect. And I do think they'll be throwing good in third and fourth quarter when they're trying to come back into games. Or if they end up surprising, then it should be a lot of production regardless. So I'm actually pretty okay with the Tennessee spot.
I mean,
at the end of the
I think
day.
he could become the one as well. So,
Well,
I agree, man.
who could become the one?
Tate,
Of
Carnell Tate. I
course,
think he could become the one. Yeah.
of
Like
course, he
long
could
term
become
is what I'm
the
saying.
one.
You attach him to Cam Ward. I
He
think that's
become the one right away,
right
not long term. He become the one right away. He's at a top 10
No,
wide receiver.
yeah, absolutely.
Now
Just saying, like
Cleveland,
long term, like I think that would be a good pairing.
yeah, Cleveland concerns me a little more. Yeah, I'd rather have Tennessee. The Giants aren't a great spot for either because you have like a cap. How are you going to become as big as you're supposed to become next to Malik Neighbors? It's going to be great for the Giants if they get Jordan Tyson or Tate. I'm hoping Mekhi Lemon, if they do end up drafting a receiver, goes to the Giants because he's the one I like the very least of the three. And I think I wouldn't be worried about Neighbors at all. If Tate or Tyson landed in New York, I'd be a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit worried about volume, not about him overshadowing Neighbors, but you can only throw the ball so much. So those are two, target hogs. But yeah, I mean, Titans have a good Titans. Like Travis is on the line right now too. Travis has been a pretty big advocate of the Titans will turn things around a little bit. But I think I agree with his assessment that it's probably going to be a couple years. But from fantasy perspective, throwing from behind is a good formula. So I like it.
I agree with that as well.
All right, later, bro.
Yep.
All right, Travis, you're live.
Yeah, and if the Titans got a guy like Tate per se, it lets DK and Io Manor slide into a 2 or 3 role, which is where they belong. And Okonkwo's decent, but Gunnar Helm is developed pretty nicely as a pass catching and blocking tight end last year. So they, I'm hoping, I wouldn't mind seeing one of these running backs like Emmett Johnson or somebody go there as well, because Pollard done his last year of his deal. And so, they could really start to build something decent with Dayball there. Again, though, they're like the Jets, the Browns. Tennessee has to show that as a franchise, they're not at that level where they just screw things up all the time.
Yeah. Someone's asking about Belichick. Real quickly, we'll talk about this. So Belichick snubbed from the Hall of Fame induction first ballot. What do you think about that, Travis? Being a Patriot fan.
Oh, it's just bitter writers.
Yeah.
And because you see all the coaches have come out. I mean, Polian, he was trying to say he didn't vote against him. He probably did too, but it's just bitter writers, and it just now makes it so the Hall of Fame voting and Pro Bowl voting looks like a joke.
Yeah, it is. I mean, these people trying to dissect the Brady and Belichick thing. It's like, look, he was there. You don't take away, Phil Jackson's, rings because, he played with Jordan. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely asinine. It is what it is. Like, when you coach great players, like, you can't always know what is going on, between who is helping who more. It's just stupid. Now, Belichick, I think Belichick didn't help himself by the way it all kind of ended for him, and then his girlfriend following him around and making him look like a, kind of an imbecile. I think that's really kind of, like right now
he was a dick to reporters through his whole career. I mean, like without a doubt. But all that does is make the reporters look more petty than him.
Yeah. He'll make it. He'll eventually be in it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Tate, Jordan, Tyson, Mekhi Lemon. I really like this Malachi Fields guy. He's really looking sharp right now. There's a lot of good footage of him. He's just a big body guy. Really like Fields a lot. I think Fields could be really good for a quarterback like Josh Allen, but it's hard to predict too much about these guys and just like go, oh, Malachi Fields, watch, he's going to the moon. And then the teams don't necessarily draft him, and you're beholden to the landing spot. So before we get too carried away, we need to wait for that. But I'm sounding the alarm on Fields, but we're definitely going to pump the brakes as we await a landing spot. But rookie wide receivers, any conversations around that?
Well, just there's some good size receivers this year, which is rare. Like even Tate, I think is 6'2" or 6'3". Tyson's 6'2". And then you got guys like Denzel Boston, 6'4". Malachi Fields is 6'3", 6'4". Jacoby Lane, who's 6'3", 6'4". Bressel is like 6'5", I think. So it's kind of rare in that sense. Now, they got to get in the right landing spot and stuff, but that's kind of exciting for a change to see some actual size in the draft.
Yeah, my rookie wide receivers after Tyson and Tate, it's just kind of a blender. It's Makai Lemon, Fields, Denzel Boston, even Rizal, like you said, and even a player like Concepcion, Chris Bell, Jeremy Bernard, Surratt. I'm not super. I don't know if any of these later guys ended up deciding to go back or something, but I'm trying to.
Yes, another guy is getting a little talk is Branch, Zachariah Branch.
Yeah,
he's fast. So we'll see what he runs. He might get pumped up because of his speed. And then I guess at the workouts and stuff, Ted Hurst supposedly looking good too. So
yeah,
we'll see though. All this stuff kind of
I'd probably
takes a while to filter out.
I'd probably say if I had to, John, we just said result twice. Pay attention. I would probably say if I had to pick between, like, if there's somebody that's going to surprise, and this, again, landing spot dependent, surprise is the number 3 over Makai Lemon, it'd probably be Fields or Boston. I like those two a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say Boston in the right spot is very interesting.
Yeah. I think
with Tate and Tyson, I think Bean, I just don't trust Bean because you're right. It'd have to be a big trade, and I don't know if I trust him to do it. I mean, that would be the perfect place, for Tate to go to Josh Allen. It just fits the way they play so well. But you look at that list you had up before of
how do you get this 26? And it depends on. And again, I don't think you blindly trade trying to get Tate in here, because you might miss him. Like, what if you trade into the 9 and then Tate goes,
right.
You'd have to be okay with like 4 guys or something, or 3 guys. Maybe they like Makai Lemon too. And I like Makai Lemon. Depending on where Makai Lemon lands, I'll like him more. Situation matters a lot. But I don't like him as much as a prospect. But, how do you get this 26?
And the Bills don't need a guy like that,
Yeah, I would love to move this up, but you're gonna have to. What's gonna have to happen is Carnell Tate, he falls, and you're like, okay, Makai Lemon goes to the Washington Commanders. The Tennessee Titans take Jordan Tyson, let's say, and then Carnell Tate's falling, or Jordan Tyson falls, and he's falling, and you're sitting here at 11 or 12 overall, and you're like, oh my God, now we can strike. And now that he's fallen this far, instead of being at 7 or 6 or 8, that's a lot different. 12 outside the top 10 is a huge discount in terms of that trade. Sure. So if you're sitting there and Carnell Tate's still there at 12 or 11 or 13, then the Buffalo Bills have some maneuverability. I don't think you can do a trade now blindly here. You just wait, and then on draft day, and the Bills on draft day do explore trades, like they tried to trade for Deebo Samuel. Then they moved down and took Keon Coleman, which was a ridiculous move. And I admit I liked him. I like Keon Coleman. I still think Keon Coleman had the potential, but they completely misused him. And then he is what he is now. Like, I don't think I don't think he's gonna, even if they trade him, because he sounds like he wants out. And I don't blame him, because this organization crapped all over his name.
Yep.
And they went and did that press conference, completely disrespectful, lacking class, talking about a guy that's essentially right next to you because he's still in your locker room. You're like, no, who was at fault for drafting Keon Coleman? I was the one that drafted Keon. Everybody wanted to say, you're the one that screwed up. No, I was the one that screwed up. We're the ones that screwed up. Hey, Keon. Keon's just walking by. Like, what are you doing, man? Classless organization. The Bills, Bean is classless, man. Bean is the worst president of football operations / GM in the National Football League. And I feel bad for Bills fans because they got to deal with this guy's decision making that probably limits this team and probably limited McDermott to the reason why he got fired. McDermott probably had his hands tied. And that's why I don't love the Joe Brady elevation as much as I want to, and I'm accepting of it. I think it could work out well because of the rapport with Josh Allen. But what concerns me is whenever you're hiring within, the person's pretty much begging to get the job, you can literally control them. So, similar to why Jerry went with Shoddy instead of going and getting some external hire, he hires centrally kind of within so that he's like, hey, I already got my meat hooks in this situation and there's not a lot of wiggle room. You're just blessed to be elevated. So if Joe Brady's kind of in that, like, I'm not going to ask for much, I don't have leverage to ask for much, you're hiring within, it gives the owner or the decision makers control over the head coach. That's why I don't love the Joe Brady elevation as much as it doesn't necessarily have to do with him, because I don't think he's going to negotiate it in any control.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I agree.
Let me hit this caller real quick and then I'll come back to you.
Yep, go for it.
It's Indy Joe. Indy Joe, you're live.
Hey, what's going on? I kind of joined a little late to the show. I just wanted to get your opinion on Malachi Lemon out of USC.
He's okay. The masses, I feel like, are brainwashed on him. I don't understand. I watch. Believe me, I watch everything I can get my hands on, and I do it twice over. On New Year's Eve, I lock myself in the studio and I watch everything all over again, and then drop my rankings at midnight Eastern when the ball drops. When everyone's out partying, Smitty's at work pressing buttons and flipping switches. And I flipped all the switches over to 2026 on the fantasyfootballshow.com. And you hear all the buzz about Malachi Lemon. He's so good. He's such a good. The guy's slow and he's small. Those are not two good recipes to make an elite wide receiver in the National Football League. But again, I reserve the right to like him a lot if he lands in the right spot. If he goes to Buffalo, then of course I'm going to like him. But I think if Jordan Tyson or Tate go to Buffalo, it's a way better situation. So Malachi Lemon, can he be, Jimmy rigged into something better based on situation? Of course, but he's the third or fourth wide receiver in this draft class.
What do you think of I've seen a comp of Jordan Addison. I think that's a half decent comp.
Yeah. And if anybody thinks I don't like Malachi Lemon, I'm not saying that, but
right.
People put words in my mouth. I just said he's the third or fourth wide. I'm not saying Travis did. But people are like, you don't like Malachi Lemon, you're going to pay for that. He's going to show you. It's like, it's not that he can't be good. It's not that he can't be a good wide receiver. We're not talking about good. We're talking about great. We're talking about elite. We're talking about Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate trying to become a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League. Malachi Lemon, could he be a 12 to 18 guy? Sure. Could he be T. Higgins? I use T. Higgins a lot because that's the perfect example of a guy that plays like a one sometimes, but is really a team's, elite number two. Could Malachi Lemon be a number one for a team? Sure. I think he's better than like a Michael Pittman Jr., who never deserved to be a number one for a team. He was a bona fide wide receiver two for a team. Whereas I believe T. Higgins could still be a low-end wide receiver one for a team. I think Malachi Lemon has that potential if he's crafted the right way.
If T. Higgins was on the Patriots right now, I mean, he would be one wide receiver one, no question.
Of course. Bro, I'd be wide receiver one on the Patriots. The Patriots don't have wide receiver one.
That's true.
I mean, who should be wide receiver one? Who should, not to get me all hot and bothered again, but who should be number one on the Patriots for wide receiver production? Henderson.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. What else you got?
So you said that you compare, or Travis said that he compares him to Jordan Addison. What exact traits do you see, Travis?
just
that
more
make
so
him comp to?
Well, just because of the size, I don't think he is a truly like dominant receiver. He's got great hands. He doesn't drop the ball much, but he primarily works out of the slot, so that's which is fine in today's NFL. But again, when you're talking about being a true wide receiver one as opposed to a team's wide receiver one, it's just those type of things that hold him back compared to a Tate or a Tyson. I got you, but
yeah,
I tend to agree with you.
I kind of view him.
Again,
I kind of view Malachi Lemon as that, like he. Sorry, I don't mean to speak over you, but he reminds me a little bit of JSN. Like in his slot receiving play, like he's a very smart route runner, which is what I like. He has a good sense of, as far as like whenever there's zone defense, after watching his film, he finds holes in zone defenses very quickly, just as quick as JSN did back in college. And
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I like him. I like him. He's 5'11", 195, bro. Like there's not being fast and being small. You can't compare him to JSN. I think that's a ridiculous comparison.
But we didn't see JSN coming.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Out of college?
Yes, we did. Of course we did. Bro, he's the number one wide receiver in his wide receiver room. Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson said
now he is. Yeah.
No.
But I mean, like, he was first under DK Metcalf whenever he got into Seattle.
Finish him. Call terminated.
Indy Joe, it happens to the best of us. All right, don't be mad. Don't be mad. It happens to the best of us. Don't come in here and say we didn't see JSN coming. Don't ever do that again. It's a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, JSN, he got hurt the year before he got drafted, I think it was. But in 2021, he had 95 catches, 1,600 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, I also don't want to
all those other wide receivers with him.
I also don't ever want to hear someone compare JSN to Malachi Lemon ever again. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. First of all, they play nothing like each other. 1'6'2", the other's 5 foot. What is he?
I list him at 5'11", so
he's probably 5'10".
He's probably even shorter than that. Yeah.
Probably the size of that.
195 seems pretty generous too.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah, and to me, like the Addison thing was just,
thank you, Indy.
Smaller slot receiver. I know he's a little bigger than Addison weight-wise, but smaller slot receiver who can do a lot of good things, but doesn't have that, elevation to be a JSN, to be a, true number one guy.
I may call on to get Smitty just to hang up on me, says Hag. Hag, appreciate you in the Rumble chat. Thank you, Landman, for being here. Appreciate you guys. Look, I mean, you call in and you say JSN's the number 1, number 2, and number 3 wide receiver, and he's an absolute marvel. He's a gem. He is a top 3 overall pick potential player. And you say Malachi Lemon and JSN, no. But any job.
Point though, you were saying how the hype is there for him. It's crazy.
It's so bad,
for
bro.
Lemon,
It's so bad. We have people thinking Malachi Lemon's gonna be JSN. That's how bad the hype is. But I'm not saying he can't be good. So anybody that's going to come back and say how you changing your mind on Malachi Lemon because he's landed with Josh Allen or something, of course, landing spot means everything. But yeah, Malachi Lemon's got a lot of he's overhyped. He's got 2 very negative things he's got to overcome: being small and not being ultra quick. And the main reason Indy Joe got hung up on is because he said that we didn't see JSN coming. What are you talking about? Number 1, he was the best receiver in his wide receiver room when Garrett Wilson and Olave were still on the team. So I don't understand what makes you. Maybe you missed it, Indy Joe, but JSN is a big.
Big Buka and MHJ were freshmen too.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. What else you got, Travis? Do I have any other callers on the line? Let me see. No, I don't. I think I hung up on the other caller. Yes, I isolated myself to Travis. Go ahead, Travis.
What do you make of the running back that that's getting some play? We've talked about him a little, Katron Allen.
Yeah, I like him.
Do you think it's like? I don't know a ton about him. I know he's a bigger back in terms of weight. I think he's around 220 or something, and he did really well this year. He took the job from Nick Singleton, so there's something to say there. But what would you have him like? 5th or 6th or something on your list? Obviously behind let's see, Love, Coleman, Price, Emmett Johnson.
You're talking about Katron Allen? I have him probably probably 6. I Love, and then Price, Johnson, Coleman, Singleton, and then it's kind of just a mix right there. He's right there with the next group. But Katron Allen, if he goes to the right spot, could easily be like Algier or higher. He could be, which at the time when Algier was selected, he was a starting running back in the National Football League.
Another running back I actually like. I've been kind of watching more of him is Mike Washington Jr. I don't know if you know much about him out of Arkansas. I think he's pretty interesting. If you have a chance to take a look at him.
Yeah. Why does everyone keep saying JSN 6'2"? We're just joking, bro. I mean, he's 6'1", right around that territory. I mean, he's going to be this much bigger than Makai Lemon. I'll tell you that. If he gives him a hug, I'll put his chin on his head. Just like what's his name? The quarterback, the 5'9" Pavia or what's his name?
Pavia or however you say it. Yeah.
bro lied about his height.
He got measured at 5'9".
5'9". He said he's 6 foot. Oh, bro. And there's no way. Like he has looked good. I've heard, and I've seen some throws, but there's no way a team's gonna draft him to be a starter. He's 5'9". You can't be a starting quarterback in the National Football League at 5'9". Pavia's not gonna. But he is. He also looks like he belongs on Happy Days or something. Like big gold chain, like walking in. He's so funny. He would be funny for the media. He'd be kind of like a poor man Scattaboo in terms of media attention. But this guy's not a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Who could possibly take him seriously as a starting quarterback? We'll see what happens, but crazy, man.
Yeah. Someone, Joseph was saying Makai Lemon is comp to Steve Smith Sr. I don't see that either.
No.
Like Steve Smith Sr. was an animal.
Yeah, this love for Makai Lemon, it reminds me of the Deontay Johnson. It reminds me of Deontay Johnson hyping. It reminds me a lot of that stuff. All right, let me go over to this phone caller here real quickly. Landman, and then over to Husseini. Landman, you're live.
Hey, hope you feel better, Smitty.
Not yet, but soon.
That's all right. Hey, there's the reason why they have the lemon law. I'm not buying that. He doesn't have the route tree and that any of these other guys have. It's a ridiculous comparison, but that's all right.
Yes.
But moving on, I got 2 questions. Are they holding out for Kubiak for the Raiders job? Is that what's going on here, or what's happening with the Raiders job? Because that to me is golden. I mean,
we're hoping that it's gonna be Coobs. We're hoping. And by the way, Makai Lemon, who probably won't run the 40, by the way, because it would potentially tank his value. Expected to probably run like a 4.5, and just so people know, Anquan Boulder ran like a 4.7, 4.8. Rice, obviously Jerry Rice ran a slow 40. It's not defining of you, but Makai Lemon being smaller, it's not the right combination, So
he's more like a Tank Dell type,
I mean, again, I'm not calling him a bust. I'm just saying for everybody to be talking about him like Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate, that's where you put him on this pedestal and then he gets knocked down to size think I don't like him. I like him at his true evaluation level of wide receiver 3, 4 of the class. I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'm fine with
Right.
that.
there's a big
Tank
gap.
Dell's not a terrible, comp, but I even think Tank Dell might have had a higher ceiling at his very, very peak if he always did.
Tank Dell also almost had the hat tricking or the triple crown.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Very much different. And to this comment here, Tate isn't exactly a burner either. But again, what I just said was Tate is like Chris Carter with his hands. Tate is a bigger guy. So when you have that lack of speed and you're small, Tate is the complete opposite of what you're talking about here with Mekhi Lemon. And Jordan Tyson's absolutely the opposite. So Tate is a monster, bro. This guy pulls in everything. All right, go ahead, Landman. What else you got?
Yeah, I got one other thing too. It's football related, but more at the college level. Are you concerned with all this money these guys are making and then staying around instead of going into the draft because they can make the same kind of money in college?
Of course. But I think what it ends up doing is at the end of the day, you still want to get to the NFL, the endorsements, the bigger contracts, the guaranteed money. Like you got to look at it from the perspective of you can make a lot of money in 1 year in college and then make another 1 year's worth of money, but you also have to get to the big stage to get that $120 million guaranteed deal. So I think you'll always be driven to get to that guaranteed money monster contract territory. And if the older you are going into the pros, the less likely you are to be drafted in a position that would get you, to your second contract to get that big money. So it kind of polices itself. I think where we get in trouble is if it gets more out of control. If there isn't governance around it, and they've got to come up with more stringent rules around capping, this and that, that NIL money is going to become a problem if they don't restrict it and get a little bit more stringent around it. So right now, I think it polices itself for now, but we'll see.
Yeah, they're gonna put some guardrails up on that because I can just see that going out of control. And a lot of these kids, they're going to look at their draft class and say, well, maybe I hang around. And, depending on who's drafting them in the first 5 rounds or 6 rounds.
Well, it happened already. It happened already. The second-ranked quarterback coming out of the draft class decided to go back to school because he didn't want to be a New York Jet. So we'll see that kind of stuff impact, where it's like a 1 or 2 or 3 big-name players you see go back to college because they don't like the draft class or they think that they aren't going to go high enough, so they want to get paid. They get you dangling $1 million in front of a college kid, and it's like hard to say no. But yeah, I think it has some impact, but they need to make sure there's some good control around it, which I think they're working towards. But it definitely is going to have a little bit of that policing itself aspect to it because you're still trying to get, like, if you're a big name quarterback, wide receiver, running back, you're looking to get that $100 million guaranteed deal, and that can't happen until you get through your rookie deal. So,
yep, it's just a different dynamic. I mean, another dynamic to consider. But anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Thanks, Landman. Appreciate you.
All right, we'll talk
later.
Thanks.
Husseini, you're live. What's up, Husseini?
What's up, Smitty? Just wanted to run this thought by you. What do you think about, let's say Cowboys screw up the signing with Pickens? What do you think about him to the Raiders? They have a lot of cap space, and let's say they draft Mendoza. They need a number 1, and they also have Bowers and Genty to support him. I think that'd be awesome with Kubiak. They would be. I hate the Raiders personally, but for fantasy, that would be number 1 or maybe top 5 fantasy team. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
He would fit perfectly there. He just fits like that kind of Vegas kind of personality. He's very, his character, his personality. He's very loud. He's very vibrant. It's perfect for that kind of. And I think Kubiak is the perfect coach to kind of let him know, like, you can be that, but you also have to be, also a professional. I think he'd be good at directing that towards him as a coach because he's young. You can kind of get through him. But I don't know, just a thought. I think that'd be awesome.
I think any of I think any of these 4 teams that we have as marked and designated the best 4 landing spots. Casey's is kind of a mixed in its own tier because you got the Rice situation, which would have to go bad for this to be the best spot. But New England, Washington, Buffalo, and LV are probably the 4 best landing spots for a wide receiver because they instantly become the number 1, like instantly. And there's no other wide receiver in the room that even drags that volume down at all. And if you spend the kind of capital it costs to go get Pickens, let's say in a trade, you have nothing left and you're going to be filling the wide receiver 2 and 3 roles very lightly or keep the guys that are already in-house. So you're talking about the amount of volume JSN's getting in New England, Washington, Buffalo, or the LV situation. You're getting oversaturated, only show in town wide receiver volume. So all 4 of those are amazing spots. So I concur. But I think these 3 also need to be talked about because Buffalo, Washington, and New England are just as good. If not even a little bit better because Bowers is capable of being the number 1 target hog. But I do believe because the wide receiver room is so dry, there's still enough designated targets for the wide receiver room that he would still have top 10 numbers for sure. But you might see Pickens a little bit higher. You see Pickens a little bit higher, I think, in New England and Buffalo. Maybe Washington and LV, just a little bit. But they're all 4 amazing spots. I agree.
Yeah, I think him with May would be really good too, or even with Allen. Those 2 would be also, I agree. Him with Pickens, I mean, since they're already, they already made the Super Bowl before the Bills or whatever, I think that would be intriguing. And I just think also Vrabel can he's kind of that same where he's younger. He's also a player. I think that would fit well with Pickens. I think that would be a good spot too. Man, Pickens would eat with Bay.
And for anybody wanting to know like what the situation is with Pickens, like I thought he's in Dallas. I mean, he's in Dallas, but he's a unrestricted free agent. So they have to tag him, which they will do almost certainly. But the concerning part about anybody wondering, like, oh, they'll sign him, right? Their intention will be to sign him, but you got to understand that the first words out of Jerry's mouth about the offseason so far were not George Pickens. They said, what is your priority? He said, priority is signing Javonte Williams back, which is a smaller amount of money because it's a running back, but that's still a big commitment to get 2 offensive pieces. And this guy is going to want so much more than what Jerry wants to pay. Like, that's something that needs to be talked about. When they tag him, there is a chance that Jerry literally wants him to play on the tag. And he's not going to want that. He's earned this payday. And also, he shut his mouth. When he came over in that trade, he could have very easily said, I'm only getting traded over to Dallas and this always normally happens. When a player's traded, you almost always, in his situation with the contract year, you almost always, 99.999% of the time, the trade and the new extension get announced in unison. Meaning that the receiving team is usually, this is how dumb Jerry is, usually the team says, why would we give up draft capital if we don't also get a locked-in new contract with said player? Otherwise, we're renting somebody. We don't want to rent a player. We're making a big commitment to trade for him. We clearly believe in him. We want him on a long-term deal, and we don't want to pay the piper later if he has a great year, and we believe he will. That's why we're trading for him. What's Jerry do? Pickens says, I'll bank on myself. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to go over in a contract year. I'm going to play out and earn top 5 wide receiver money. And people say, this diva, he's not going to do it. He's going to screw it up. He didn't. He delivered. He banked on himself, and he's going to get paid. Problem is, Jerry's willing to probably tag him and make him play on the tag, and he's earned it. And he's going to say, I'm not doing that. So what's going to happen? He's going to hold out all offseason, and then he's going to get hurt during the season. So there is a chance that this thing gets really messy to where Jerry does trade him away on the tag. And then you get the tag and sign situation going on. So Pickens is not a lock to be in Dallas, but all of what we have in front of us says that he's not in control. He can only make it so messy. That's his leverage to get the hell out of Dodge. We'll see. He's a diva, and he's definitely a guy that could definitely make this the messiest it could be. This is Brandon Ayuk's offseason situation, at least, or more, if he wants it to be. So buckle up. We're going to have about 15 to 20 George Pickens live streams between now and September. Go ahead, Husseini. Final thoughts on this?
No, I agree. I don't think he's locked in to be a Cowboy, but I mean, I wouldn't mind him being a Cowboy because I think that offense with Dak and Williams spreading the offense, I think it's great for fantasy. But him being a number one would also be fun to watch with, like, you know, like you said, like a May or Allen or even like Mendoza with the Kubiak. You know, that would also be fun.
I mean, like Blitzen says, Jerry will screw it up. Look how Jerry screwed up the Parsons situation. I mean, who would have thought that would have happened, right? So don't think for a second that Pickens can't screw this up. I would love to see Pickens I'd love to see Pickens more so than Dallas, because then CeeDee Lamb becomes a little bit more protected into volume. I'd love to see Pickens end up in New England, Washington, Buffalo, or LV. And even KC, I'm not. Even KC, if that situation goes awry. And honestly, I'm 50-50 on Rice's situation, because this is the NFL. They take domestic very, very seriously, but we haven't heard a word. So I don't know. I'm
really curious. I'm really curious about what they're going to do with that situation. Like you said, they haven't really said anything, and so I'm just like, man, like, when are you? If you're not going to, then at least say that so that we know that for fantasy we can kind of bring it back into talking.
They're
don't know what.
They're digging.
Yeah, we just don't know what's going on. It's just like,
they're investigating.
Just let us know.
They're investigating. We're just waiting.
I hope they find out soon, because I hope they find out before the draft, or they make an announcement before the draft, because otherwise it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough to figure out, like, do we draft a receiver? Do we draft a running back? Do we draft it? Like,
I mean, KC used to be the commissioner's golden team, right? And now we're not feeling that anymore. So I don't know if they're going to do them any favors and say, "Hey, we'll let you know before." Who knows, man? That's the problem. Is we're probably gonna see if one of those wide receivers goes to KC. They're expecting the worst, but I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, me personally, I hope that we sign Breece Hall, and then we use that 9th pick to draft, if available, Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate, which I don't think they will be. But I also don't really think that Jeremiah Love will be available either. So I just feel like signing Breece Hall, at least you got a bona fide guy who can do it all. And you just sign him, and you give the man what he wants and what he deserves, and that's it. That's
problem is Breece Hall could also get tagged. Probably will get tagged. So then you got to trade for him. You got to trade and sign him, and so it sucks. Like I don't get why
they didn't trade for him for that. They wanted that 3rd round or whatever.
I mean,
what can you possibly get in the 3rd round that's better than Breece Hall? I mean, you really gotta bank on some guy in the 3rd round to be better than. I don't know. I
agree that the NFL values picks weirdly. I would surrender 2nd and 3rd rounders like they're candy.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be like, hey, how much is Breece Hall third rounder? How about just for business relations? I give you a 2nd. I feel bad. I feel the pleasure is all on this side of the table. How about a 2nd? There you go. Boom. Come back. I'll give you something extra next time too. Like, that's how I'd operate. When I hear people say 3rd and 4th rounders, like, for example, Kyler Murray. I'd rather keep Kyler Murray on my team as my backup than trade him for a freaking 3rd or 4th round pick. Like, screw that. But that's just the way the NFL is, man. And so that's why if I was in the league, I'd be taking advantage. I'd be like, boom, give me that player. I don't think I'd ever have any picks. Every year, I'd be the one GM that has like 1 or 2 picks, like the 3rd or 4th or 5th round. Yep. I'd never have 1st. I'd never have 2nds. I'd be trading them away for players left and right. I'd give up a 1st rounder for George Pickens.
That's why I have so much respect for Howie Roseman, because that dude, man, he knows how to he knows how to draft, and he knows how to find other players and just somehow practically make a deal where he's like, okay, you give me this bona fide player for a second or 3rd round or whatever, and a bag of chips. And you're just thinking, like, how did he pull that off? It's just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
It's just insane.
All right, Husseini, any final thoughts? I'm going to get out of here.
Oh, you're good. Thanks, Smitty.
All right, later, bro. I'll be back at midnight tonight, guys. Travis, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for Priest that he's going to get tagged, and or likely will. I think it kind of looks that way, just because they have such little talent there. I mean, well, I guess they have all right talent, but in terms of name value. And I don't know if you saw, but Greg Roman is interviewing for their OC job. So,
yeah, we'll see.
Fan of that. I mean, he runs a lot, I guess, but
yeah.
I don't know what the Jets are thinking.
The Jets.
But yeah, I think one team that needs a wide receiver, unless they're just going to re-sign Devo and run it back, which I think is a bad idea, is Washington. Like, I know they have Terry McLaurin, they signed him, all that, but if I was them, I'd be getting a young receiver in there to go alongside McLaurin.
I'd 100% be drafting with this number 7 overall pick, Tate or Jordan Tyson. It wouldn't even be this discussion unless it was
and
Jeremiah Love. I could also do that.
And it's right. It sounds like, and things change, but like Caps, he's a Washington fan, and I've heard the same thing, that they're looking at edge right now. And I mean, there's some really good edge guys up high, but this is also supposedly one of the deeper drafts for pass rushers. So, why burn a number 7 pick on it when you can get a guy in there for Daniels? Because Daniels is what matters. You're not going anywhere unless you can keep him upright and give him weapons. Otherwise, everything else is a moot point.
Yeah. All right. Calling tonight.
Thanks, Smitty. I'll talk to you later. I'll be back.
All right, later, bro. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. Sorry, I feel under the weather still, obviously. It sounds like crap. I'm definitely at the worst of it, so I don't know how long the worst of it will be. But we'll probably be back tonight at midnight, I hope. I can't promise it, but I do hope we'll do a draft and then go live on Dynasty. I need to make sure I'm at least doing this 8 p.m. show every day for sure. That's rain or shine, sickness and health, doesn't matter. But I'll be back at midnight Eastern. Appreciate all you dialing in. Guys, make sure you get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com for the rankings, the bold predictions, the trade calculators. There's 5 or 6 bold predictions already up. The rankings have had the rookies embedded in the rankings, and I update them all the time. I updated my Malachi Fields ranking. Go check out all of the rankings. The rookies are integrated into everything. Then there's rookie-only rankings, and then there's super rookie rankings, which your boy coined many years ago, and a lot of people are copying that now. They're rookie and sophomores only in one ranking. That gives you a real good dynasty feel as to what's going on. Appreciate you all. I'll see you around midnight Eastern. Thank you. Please subscribe if you're new. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, live whenever big news breaks, usually. And also live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. Thank you, Hag. Appreciate you. Thank you, Landman, for calling in. Thank you, New Age, if you're out there. And appreciate everybody over on Rumble. Guys, subscribe to the Rumble channel because there'll be Rumble exclusive videos this year. I haven't got into that yet, but we will. Don't worry. Appreciate you all. Visit the sponsors below if you get a chance. Help the channel out. Links are all in the description.